In this video, I'll show you some of the core fundamental steps I take inside ZBrush to clean up all of my 3D models. Sculptris, as you'll see, is a critical part. Take a look. Okay, great. We have our bucket loaded inside ZBrush. I scanned this with an Artec Leo a while back. Really quick scan, simple thing. So the goal here is to look for areas of the mesh that have, these smooth areas here. And basically these areas where geometry has been filled in. There was like a hole here, and hole filling algorithms created that kind of gooey, gummy geometry. And we're gonna get rid of that, right? Because that's like a piece of wood, and we got to smooth that down. Smooth out that corner, sharpen it up a bit. Same thing with this area in there. Make sure that hole goes all the way through. We have this area under the handle. It's kind of smoothed out. Couldn't reach that with the scanner, so the hole filling algorithm just smoothed that hole over. So we're just gonna sharpen these areas up a little bit, make them a little more natural. And we'll just start on this side here. This little piece of wood is going through the hole, but it created all this weird gooiness in there. We're going to turn on Sculptris, turn off adaptive size, because we don't want that to be tessellating based on how far we are. And start with a subdivide size that's fairly high. This model is, I think it's millimeter scale. These four macros represent just custom subdivide sizes. So like here's one, that's too fine, but here's 6, which will give you a larger subdivide size. We'll stick with that for now. So we'll set it to 0.6. And we want to clean up this kind of gooey stuff around that round wooden piece. We're going to just mask that area to just operate on it right there, right? Inside ZBrush. Cool. Let's get rid of any areas we don't need. Basically this and this stuff here. Basically, I'm just selecting the areas I want to get rid of, right? And what we're going to do is we'll click an empty space to invert that. Now we're going to use a special brush called Trim Hole. It's not in your brushes palette by default. So if you hit comma to go to Spotlight, go to Brush, and our Trim folder, all the way over here, there's going to be a Trim Hole right here. So if you double click on that, we'll get that brush going. If you use the Trim Hole brush, you want to basically aim for the void behind these polygons. What this is going to do is basically push the masked area into the void. Now with Sculptris enabled, what this is going to do is it's going to just push those polygons into the void, and it's going to just disappear. If we smooth and push and smooth and push and smooth, we're just kind of eating away that geometry. And this is a really quick way of getting a hole. Of course, you smooth by holding the Shift key. The reason we smooth is because it'll collapse the geometry down and it'll essentially remove it. So it cleans up the geometry for you. It's really sweet. I'll show you some more here in a second. So now we have that round area emptied out, but we have some of this here that we still need to fix. This was caused by the trim hole, by the pushing. So if we just start smoothing that down, or we might need to just remove the mask. If we start smoothing this down, you can see we kind of ate away that geometry. And we might need to use like a planer brush or something to just clean that up. We can use Flatten. Let's see here. Yep, flatten that down a little bit, smooth it out. Right. We can use DamStandard to create that seam that was, that we expect to see there. Sculptris is still on because we're dynamically creating triangles in this area just so we can sculpt organically. Clay tubes, or clay buildup rather, smooth that out. Okay. Emphasize that area a bit more. Smooth that there. Okay, so we have this area all good to go. We can go ahead and do this other area. Why don't you go ahead and try that out yourself? I'm going to pause the video and attack it. These areas down here in the corner are also areas the scanning didn't reach. So I'm just gonna fix this up with a little bit of Clay Buildup. With Sculptris enabled, I'm just gonna continue that seam across. Maybe DamStandard. Push that in. And maybe planar brush. I'm gonna smooth this area to create the normals I need, and I'm just gonna dig into that area right there, just so that it keeps going. A larger brush will force it a little bit more, kind of like that. Really, it's just a couple brushes. You got your DamStandard for your seams, planar to kind of push, you know, to create walls and hard surface regions, and Clay Buildup to just kind of dig in there and create shape and form, and of course smooth. Okay, this little handle area here kind of bothers me, so I'm gonna just isolate it, and we'll use a clip curve. I'm just going to mask this area. Now, sometimes when you use clip curve, well, all the time really, is what it's doing is it's just scaling the geometry in that direction of the shaded area. So it's forcing the geometry upward and it's collapsing it. So there's going to be vertices that are overlapping. And what's great about Sculptris is you can retopologize really quickly and fix that dirty geometry. Let me show you an example here. If I just go like that, there's going to be all this geometry kind of overlapping, and it's real nasty looking. You can see it in there. Stuff's overlapping. Well, if we just take the smooth, hold shift, and if we just turn our intensity down to 0, so that smooth is going to do nothing, but keep Sculptris enabled, it'll retopologize that area. So all that geometry is now fixed. And of course, you can go finer if you want finer detail. But yeah, we just retopologize that area, clean up all that dirty geometry real easily, you know. And that's something that I'll commonly do throughout all of my mesh processing steps. So in the case of here, you know, I'm going to retopologize with a large subdivision size just to make sure things are decent. Make sure my geometry is okay. There's like some hard edges there. We'll put that intensity back up and just smooth that back down. You could have done it right at the beginning, but you know, whatever. The bucket is generally in good shape. I use this bucket for this tutorial because it's it's really just pretty simple, really. I mean, it's a bucket. There's a couple spots we got to hit with the Sculptris and some simple ZBrush modeling tools, but that's pretty much it. Let's take a look here. There's a little negative space there. That area, I'm going to leave that. I think that's okay. It's so small, we probably won't see it. These little pieces that come off, that might create havoc when it comes time to UV, so why don't we just edit that right there. And, you know, of course, all we got to do is we can use our Flatten brush, BFA, and just kind of flatten that inwards, or we could just smooth it down. You know, so what? Maybe restore it a little bit, get that edge back with the DamStandard brush. Yeah, good enough. Okay, you're probably noticing all of this high frequency grit that's on the scan, and that's just the natural byproduct of 3D scanning, really. I mean, photogrammetry scanning has a lot of noise as well, but you know, I scan this with the Artec Leo, which is a structured light scanner. There's going to be some noise on the mesh. If you smooth it inside ZBrush or other tools, all you're doing is blurring the mesh, right? So if I just run a smooth or a polish or, you know, peaks and valleys or whatever, you're just losing detail. You know, you're just losing the edge fidelity from the natural edges, right? So if you just smooth that, you're just blurring the mesh. And what we want to do is use the Matterfield Denoiser to get rid of this. Do you process 3D models from photogrammetry or structured light scanners? Noisy geometry is a fact of life, but is easily removed using Matterfield Denoiser. One simple command removes the gritty noise and keeps the edge detail you care about. It's ideal for automation pipelines too. Stop using basic smoothing tools, free up your time, and use Matterfield Denoiser. Available with your subscription to Matterfield.com.